Money does not announce itself. It does not plead for your attention, and it rarely rewards those in haste. Yet the world is filled with millions of people who spend their lives chasing it, believing that wealth is a matter of luck, timing, or some secret formula. The uncomfortable truth is far simpler and far harsher. Most people remain financially stuck, not because they lack intelligence, skill, or opportunity, but because they misunderstand what it truly takes to build wealth. They follow impulse rather than principle. They chase the noise rather than listening to the quiet signals that endure over time. They confuse activity with progress, movement with achievement, and distraction with strategy. The mind is easily seduced. It craves immediate results, tangible rewards, and constant validation. It sees a rise in a stock price and assumes wisdom has been demonstrated. It sees a paycheck grow and believes it has conquered financial mastery. But these are illusions. Emotional investing, impatience, and the constant pressure to keep up create a trap that is invisible to those inside it. It is a trap that begins early in life, sometimes unknowingly, with small choices that seem insignificant at the time but compound over decades into a life constrained by circumstance. People spend their lives as employees, exchanging time for money under the assumption that this is the path to security, yet security is never delivered in a single paycheck, a single promotion, or a single financial milestone. Instead, it is built slowly, quietly, through disciplined decisions, rational judgment, and the willingness to forego instant gratification for long-term reward. Most fail to see this because society celebrates speed, spectacle, and immediate success. The headlines glorify the young entrepreneur who strikes gold overnight. The media rewards those who gamble rather than those who patiently build value over decades. The loudest stories are rarely the truest. Lifestyle inflation is another subtle thief of wealth. As income grows, desires grow in proportion. A new car, a bigger house, a trendier wardrobe, they all signal progress, but often they simply absorb financial capacity that could have been invested. Every indulgence delays financial independence. The majority of people live in a constant state of not enough, perpetually increasing expenditure to match income, and never allowing time to work its compounding magic. Wealth, therefore, is less about how much you earn and more about how consistently you make rational choices and delay gratification. Emotional investing is equally destructive. Fear and greed are two of the most powerful forces in finance, yet most people allow them to dictate action. A market decline becomes panic. A headline about a hot stock becomes temptation. People sell at the bottom and buy at the top, precisely the opposite of what creates enduring wealth. The cycle repeats, silently eroding potential for decades. The quiet path to wealth is entirely different. It is calm, rational, and patient. It does not react to every headline or social impulse. It observes, evaluates, and acts according to principle, not emotion. At the heart of this approach is a principle that is deceptively simple. Value matters more than excitement. True wealth is built by investing in what endures and what produces consistent, predictable results over time. It is built by understanding what is intrinsically valuable and having the courage to remain invested, even when others are distracted by volatility, hype, or panic. The company's assets and strategies that endure are rarely flashy. They are consistent, resilient, and often invisible to the impatient eye. Investing in them is not speculation. It is recognition of reality and alignment with enduring truth rather than temporary noise. The first lesson to understand is patience. Patience is not passive. It is active discipline. It is the capacity to wait without anxiety, to allow small rational decisions to compound over time. Compounding is not merely a mathematical principle. It is a psychological test. The world tempts us to believe that faster is better, but wealth accumulates quietly in proportion to consistency and restraint. A single impulsive action can wipe out years of patient progress. Conversely, the power of sustained, rational decisions over decades is almost unimaginable. Wealth built this way is self-reinforcing, creating an expanding capacity for future decisions and opportunities. The second lesson is clarity. To invest effectively, you must understand what you own, why you own it, and the risks involved. Clarity is about cutting through the noise and focusing on essentials. It is about knowing a business, its management, its financial strength, and its ability to endure. The quiet investor does not diversify indiscriminately, nor does she chase trends blindly. She focuses on opportunities where intrinsic value is clear and she ignores the distractions that consume the majority of market participants. Simplicity, when combined with discipline, becomes a powerful multiplier of results. The third lesson is emotional discipline. Markets fluctuate, economies wobble, and headlines scream. Yet the disciplined mind remains steady. Emotional control is not natural, it is cultivated. It is the product of repeated practice, observation, and conscious restraint. A calm mind is capable of seeing opportunity where others see chaos, of resisting panic where others surrender to fear. Emotional discipline transforms financial decision-making from a series of reactive impulses into a consistent, rational process. Over time, this restraint compounds, creating a profound advantage that is invisible to the undisciplined observer. The fourth lesson is delayed gratification. This is perhaps the most misunderstood principle. The majority of people want results immediately. They want confirmation that their efforts are worthwhile now, today, rather than in a decade. True wealth demands the courage to defer reward, to embrace the discomfort of restraint, and to invest steadily when the immediate gratification is tempting. Sacrifice is not deprivation, it is investment in future freedom. The power of delayed gratification becomes exponentially more potent when combined with compounding. Small choices, repeated consistently, led to results far beyond what immediate effort could achieve. The fifth lesson is independence of thought. The world will pressure you to conform, to follow trends, to react to fear or excitement. Independent thought requires courage, the courage to trust analysis over impulse, to trust principle over popularity. Those who develop independent thinking are able to see value where others see risk, to resist the herd mentality, and to make decisions aligned with long-term success rather than short-term applause. It is not contra. Realism for its own sake, it is rationality as a shield against mediocrity and distraction. Consider the transformative effect of applying these principles consistently over a decade. Each year of patience earns interest on previous decisions. Each rational investment compounds silently. Each instance of emotional restraint avoids catastrophic loss. Over time, these small actions, repeated with discipline, accumulate into extraordinary results. The quiet investor is almost invisible in the present moment. Her choices are subtle, unnoticed, uncelebrated, but the long-term trajectory is profoundly powerful. Imagine, 10 years from now, a life unbound by financial stress. Not a life of ostentatious consumption, but a life of freedom. Freedom to make choices not constrained by immediate financial necessity. Freedom to pursue passion, creativity, and purpose. Freedom to live deliberately rather than reactively. The small, disciplined decisions you make today, the restraint, the rational evaluation, the patience, have created a reality that appears miraculous to those who rely on luck or speed, but is in fact entirely predictable to those who understand compounding, patience, and rational decision-making. Now consider the psychological dimension. Applying these principles transforms not only wealth but character. Patience becomes a virtue beyond finance. Clarity becomes a guiding lens in every decision. Emotional control reshapes interactions, negotiations, and life choices. Delayed gratification reinforces self-mastery. Independence of thought fosters courage and wisdom. The journey toward wealth is inseparable from the journey toward personal transformation. Financial discipline and personal growth are not parallel. They are one and the same even in moments of uncertainty. This approach works. Markets will fall. Economies will fluctuate. Headlines will scream of disaster or euphoria. The disciplined investor does not pretend to predict every event. Instead, she prepares for it by focusing on assets of enduring quality, by evaluating opportunities rationally, and by remaining invested patiently. Risk is never eliminated, but it is understood, managed, and harnessed as part of a larger strategy. The average investor reacts. The disciplined investor adapts. The difference is enormous over decades. This is the essence of the quiet path to wealth. It is methodical, rational, and emotionally grounded. It does not promise thrills, nor does it glorify speed. It celebrates patience, wisdom, and endurance. The majority of people are blind to it because it is subtle and slow, yet its rewards are profound and lasting. The world will continue to glamorize speculation, instant gratification, and volatile trends. The quiet path remains unnoticed, but it is open to anyone willing to walk it with consistency and conviction. The transformation over time is remarkable. Decisions that seem insignificant now, the act of saving, the decision to invest, consistently, the avoidance of impulsive spending multiply into a life of freedom and security. Each step is reinforced by the compounding of previous choices. Emotional storms pass, trends fade, panic subsides. The quiet investor continues steadily, almost invisibly, while others are swept along by chaos. A life of financial independence becomes inevitable, not because of luck, but because of the deliberate application of timeless principles. Visualize this transformation clearly. 10 years of consistent discipline, 10 years of patience and clarity, 10 years of controlled emotion and delayed gratification. Your financial position is no longer fragile. It is resilient, robust, and capable of supporting choices, not obligations. Your daily decisions no longer revolve around scarcity or fear, but around purpose. See an opportunity. You have learned to think independently, to trust rational evaluation over impulsive reaction. The world of distraction exists around you, but it no longer dictates your life. You have built a quiet fortress of wealth and freedom. And now the final challenge. Examine yourself honestly. Consider your current financial habits. How often do you spend impulsively, react emotionally, or chase what is fleeting rather than enduring? How often do you allow the desire for immediate gratification to override the potential for long-term freedom? True transformation begins with awareness and willingness to act differently. The quiet path demands reflection, courage, and daily discipline. Every decision you make today compounds into the life you will live tomorrow. Every rational choice reinforces freedom. Every impulsive choice erodes it. Wealth, in its truest sense, is not measured by bank balances alone. It is measured by control, independence, and the ability to live deliberately. The quiet path is the only path that produces this outcome reliably. Time, patience, rationality, and discipline are your allies. Follow them, and the world of fleeting trends and emotional distraction becomes irrelevant. Your life will be determined not by the noise around you, but by the calm, consistent actions you take. Wealth is built in silence, in restraint, and in rational, deliberate action repeated over decades. Commit now. Decide to act with patience, clarity, and emotional control. Invest in what is valuable, delay gratification, and think independently. The quiet path is not easy, it is not flashy, it does not promise immediate reward, but it promises transformation, a life of freedom, of financial independence, and of deliberate purpose. Let this principle guide your every decision. Let it shape your mindset, your actions, and your approach to opportunity. Let this compounding of disciplined choices work silently for you over the years. The quiet path is open to anyone who chooses it, and it is as close to certainty as the world allows in the unpredictable landscape of finance and life. Your future self is waiting, free, empowered, and unbound. Walk deliberately toward that future. Make each decision with purpose. Let patience and discipline accumulate silently until one day, decades from now, the life you envision becomes your reality. Until one day, decades from now, the life you envision becomes your reality. Simon Courses wiping not by luck, not by haste, but by wisdom, consistency, and quiet, unwavering dedication. Change begins not with fortune, but with mindset. Change begins not with action alone, but with understanding. Change begins when you choose the long-term path over the tempting shortcuts, the enduring principles over the fleeting trends. It begins today in your decisions, in your discipline, and in your willingness to embrace the quiet path. Let time become your greatest ally. Let rationality guide your actions. Let patience compound your choices into freedom. Let the quiet path to wealth transform not only your financial life, but your character, your mind, and your destiny. And when you feel ready, subscribe, reflect, and return to these principles daily. Let them anchor you, guide you, and transform the way you live. The quiet path is not obvious, but it is powerful, enduring, and available to all who choose it.